yours. All right, good morning.
Hey, good afternoon.
My name is Vahid Chitsaz, part of Elite Mastermind group. Thank you for taking this time and being here with us. I got a lot of questions for you. So go ahead and introduce yourself for everybody, and then I'm going to dive right into it.
I love questions. My name is Leigh Trescott. As you said, I live in my happy place, New York City. I'm a breakup coach and a podcast host of Thank You Heartbreak. So I really help people look at the upside and look at it as a critical moment to break upward and rise to the next level after a setback.
So it's not just breaking up with your boyfriend or girlfriend.
You know, it's really expanded. As I've done it more, especially with the podcast, I've found other moments in time when it's really about disappointment. So it's looking at like, what is a romantic heartbreak really about? It's when you like bid your future on one thing and you lose it. So that doesn't just happen with romance. Though I focus on romance, it actually is beginning to include other moments in life too.
So if I broke up with someone and it really didn't affect me and I got over it very fast, does that make me a cold-blooded person?
You're definitely a sociopath, and yeah, we'd want to put you in a place and lock you up. No, I say that like there's been times when I was already grieving my relationship when I was in it, so I was always hysterically crying with my boyfriend. I was so shut down, all those things. So I think we grieve relationships when we're in them, and then we break up, and we don't always need that time to process it because we were already doing that.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully my wife will not watch this episode. Because I'm about to open up myself to a lot of.
You should call me.
No, she's amazing. So it's fine. But then here's the part that always could. If I wouldn't have broken up or separated or left or walked away, whatever you want to call it, or if they would have walked or not walked away, I would have never met my wife. No, so is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, that's the good thing. That's what I want to show people. I mean, our heart breaks to bring us closer to what we're meant for next, or to the one. A lot of people think that a relationship isn't beneficial or it didn't work unless you stay in it. And that's not accurate. You know, relationships, just like you said, you had girlfriends that led you to your wife. So those girlfriends you should be thanking. They brought you, they made you into who you needed to be for your wife. So that's why I always appreciate and respect the people of my past. Still love them.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm not gonna start thanking them. They're already married and they got husbands, and their husbands are very crazy. So I'm just gonna thank them without them knowing. So
yeah,
we won't have.
I read this quote that was like, all of our all of the new girlfriends or boyfriends think we're jealous of them, but we're really looking at them and being like, thank God you took that off my hand. Like, go hang with that psycho, you know?
That is awesome. So let me ask you a question. How does mindset comes into play when you're in a relationship, and what the heck does that have to do with self-development and Think and Grow Rich?
Big question. I mean, it's all mindset. You know, a lot of the times when you enter into a relationship, a lot of people don't know who they really are. So they're looking to kind of take on the thoughts, the perspective, the life of another. So they're literally forfeiting their mindset in order to appease someone. So they lose their mind in order to gain some heart connection. And so the best relationships are personal development based. It's growth related relationships. So how do you do that? I mean, those are two people that feel comfortable talking out loud about their thoughts. You know, when you're creating your future with someone, you have to have a mindset toward what you're going toward. A lot of relationships don't work out because people didn't talk about their visions. They weren't really visionaries. So they were just living in the present. They were living right now. And they weren't thinking about, who am I trying to become with someone? What type of life am I trying to create? What type of impact do I want to have with someone else as well? So mindset is how you don't end up forfeiting yourself just to a relationship or end up codependent. It's how you have that individuality within a relationship. And I really think it's what we fall in love with. We fall in love with other people's minds. You know, relationships are a series of conversations. If you don't have a good mindset, you're going to bury the relationship. Someone's going to think you're a downer, that you're not lending anything really.
That is deep. I need to process that. I need a couple of seconds to.
Did it make
sense? I'm a slow learner, so I got to process that. But here, okay, so a lot of guys watching this tomorrow, this will be their mindset. Let me go date as many girls as I can, so it will lead me to my wife. But their intention is never to have or husband or whatever else you want to call it. So their intention is to just go through as many people as possible. So how do you stop that? Like, how do you know if somebody's not for you? That's what I want to, before it actually goes through breaking the heart, all of that stuff, like 2 years of relationship, 5 years of entanglement, all of these, how do you know the person is not for you and your future is with somebody else?
Well, I think one thing that you said, I mean, I think it's two different questions. The first question about, you know, how do we, first off, most of my clients are men. And I find that a lot of them, like, their intention is to have a committed relationship. You're not going to find out more really about yourself, about like what happens when life hits you. If you're just going through a series of people, I mean, it's not speed dating. That's not how you discover yourself. You discover yourself by putting yourself in a moment and staying there and seeing how you respond to things. You know, dating a lot of people is just really running from yourself. It's avoiding what life is really about, which is calling upon you to address certain things that come up in moments. What was the second question about? How do you know if someone really is like the love?
Yeah, I mean, how do you know at what point? To me, being able to quit on a relationship early on is it's a blessing, because then you're not in it for the wrong reason and kind of prolonging it just because you don't want to hurt someone's feeling, because you feel a little bit lonely, or you got accustomed, or now you got acclimated to that person and their behavior, and then you're like stuck. You're not moving on, but this relationship is not giving you the fulfillment you need. So you're like in between. You're not on a black or white. You're on the gray area, and you don't know what to do. What's the factor to just terminating that?
Yeah, so that's absolutely 100% why I became a breakup coach. I really was that person. They'd become my best friend. My heart would be breaking though, because I knew that there was no future. This did not make sense for my future. So I really wanted to become someone that when I knew that this did not make sense, the relationship had played out, even if I was still in love, that I could leave before not I resented them, but before I resented myself. I think we resent ourselves when we know what we must do, but we don't act out of fear, out of comfort, all these things. So it really is about like, there's a part of you that knows if you're stagnating, if you're doing things out of fear, if you're staying because this is all you have, or you don't know how to lead your own life. Most people don't leave relationships because they don't know how to keep living or showing up for themselves. And they just don't know what that will look like. And I think that this is something that we hear inside of ourselves. And the point is that you fall out of love with yourself when you stay because you're using someone, when you stay because you feel like you're weak on your own, when you stay because you don't believe in yourself enough to go create a future for yourself. I remember being told, you know, Chelsea, and this was before I became a coach, before I started getting into personal development, if you had more faith in what you could give yourself in your future, you would have left him long ago. And that's who I needed to understand and become. And that's the philosophy that—
Chelsea, who gave you that recommendation? Who told you that?
My twin sister that had just gone through rehab. And she, you know, she has
See,
seen the light.
what if the person doesn't have that? I mean, I'm assuming that you trust and you love your sister. So, but what if somebody doesn't have that? What if you're just a person who doesn't have those close relationships, especially men? They're a bunch of chickens. They don't talk to other guys. If one of my guy friends comes talk to me about their relationship, or like, you know, they're sobbing, they're crying, they're complaining, you usually like, dude, come on, get it together. Like, these are not the conversations we want to have when we go hang out. I know females, they talk about this stuff a lot more. But how do you seek out the help when you don't have the person that you trust to go and have these conversations and know that they're going to give you the right advice?
I hate to pitch myself, but that's why people hire me, because especially men, they don't have other people like you're saying, or women commiserate. But I will say this, when my sister said that to me, I had no idea what the word faith meant. You can hear things and not be ready for them. This has happened a lot in my life. I heard something, it hit me, I didn't really understand it, or I wasn't ready to hear it. But the thing is, there's so many things. You can read books. You could start, like, I started reading books like we're talking about and hearing new thoughts, trying to absorb it. So many people reach out to me because I had an advice column. There are so many people online that are watching videos like this. They're reading things. They're searching in secret. Like, there are so many people searching for new thoughts. That's why one of my services is e-coaching. It's people writing me. Some people aren't prepared to have a conversation back and back. They want to absorb a new perspective. So it's about that. You might not have I didn't have people when I was in relationships at times. It was all about who I was with. So we don't always have people. I mean, that's why I started doing this career, because I know that people don't, or they feel like they're going to be judged or shamed by people that they love, that know their relationship.
That is awesome. That is awesome. How important is your relationship? How important would you say someone's relationship with the opposite sex, or having a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, whatever, is for their success in the future in their business? And the reason why I ask that is because Dr. Hill talks about it in the book, that you choosing the right person for your future is probably one of the most important things that you ever do. So how much percentage would you put on it? How much weight would you give it that you picking the right person could put you on a very, very, I mean, it could do great things for you, and it could also do horrible things for you, and it put you on the wrong path. What is your opinion on that?
I think it can make or break you. You're right. I think that it's, you kind of play to your audience. And if the person that you're with, a lot of people are scared of people that want to develop themselves because they fear that they will outgrow the relationship, or that a certain level of success or just excitement about what you're doing is going to make you grow beyond them, So if you're with someone like that, you're going to be afraid of actually going out and trying to reach the goals that you've wanted for yourself before you even met them, because you don't want to lose that person. You don't want to rock the boat for them. You don't want to make them uncomfortable. So you're people pleasing to that relationship, and you're going to stay small because you're afraid of expanding. Then there's other people that love who you are, believe in who you don't need to go prove yourself that you're going to become more in order for them to accept you, but they delight in seeing you get bigger. They delight in seeing you excited to be alive. And so I think those relationships, for people probably like on your channel, those are so important. You have to be with someone that cheers for you now, that is about you now, but would completely be rooting for you when things are really happening. I mean, I've had a lot of people, they're fans, they're all about it. But the moment it starts happening, they're like, wait a second, I thought I was excited for you, but now I'm scared. And so you have to be prepared. Do you really mean that you would like to see me succeed? What do you think? Like, you have to make sure someone understands that you're not going to leave them, or they're not going to be, compromised by you kind of glowing and getting ahead, that you want to bring them along with you.
That creates two questions for me. So what's your opinion on Match.com and eHarmony?
I've had eHarmony on my podcast many times, and I do like them. I mean, I'm not about like online dating and stuff though. I don't do I mean, it's a little different. The apps thing, I think, really makes people anxious and cynical about love. eHarmony, I mean, I guess, not everyone has New York City and all these people outside their door. But I think it's important to not be passively engaging and to put this kind of pressure on you to go show up in the world and make a presentation, like be presentable, engage with people. The best thing that you can do is go out into the world and learn to introduce yourself. That's how you further your life. People are so scared these days. They don't want to risk themselves. They still want to wait till a man initiates. It's like, how are you going to advance your agenda or just your life if you're always waiting on someone else because you don't want to feel out of control? You don't want to feel loss of power. Empower yourself to go and try to put yourself in the situations where you think you might find love, where you're still benefiting because you're showing up in life whether you find someone or not.
I agree with that. So that was my first question. Second question that I have was like probably the 10th question that I asked. My other question is, so would you say true love only happens when two individuals meet and they don't need anything from each other, but they want to be together?
I mean, what's the definition of true? I think that not
because
always.
at any moment, if I need a person, and the reason why I ask this is this, maybe I'll put it in a different perspective. It's because of the cultural background that I come with. See, if you talk about independency, and we're making female and male very, very independent in their own career, in their own life, where they do not need the other person in their life, and they'll be still happy, excited. They have their own center of influences. They have their friends. They have all that stuff. To me, that's not where we came from. Yeah. Back then, the old school way was that majority of the time, the females would be taking care of the household, the baby and everything else. They will be dependent on the husband for the income, but the husband will be dependent on them to have a family, raise their children, and create that environment for them. So it was like I don't want to say an equal exchange, but it was an exchange. And it worked for many, many, many years. Why? Because then the females wouldn't say, well, I got my own car, I got my own house, I got my own room. Why the hell do I need your ass? I could go do better than that. Oh, that option was not there as freely as it is today. So would you say the ratio of breakup and divorce is much higher today because we're not as dependent on each other? Because the society is making us very, I'm dependent on my wife. I want to be dependent on my wife. I don't want to be independent on my wife. That doesn't function for me. Now, that doesn't mean she can't have her own life, her own friends, all of that stuff. But to me, it's like when they complete each other, when they bring in different things to their relationship or this equation, I think there's a less chances of divorce and breakup and all of those things. What is your opinion on that?
I completely agree. I mean, I'm traditional like you in those senses. I think that like I'm not the person that's like Beyonce, all the single ladies, like at all. I think that one of the worst things that happened to me was I thought I didn't need anyone. And I pushed a lot of people away. I mean, the reason I do what I do now, I realize, is that I do depend on people for conversations. I do depend on people to feel alive. I think love is the same way. And I think that's okay. I mean, I think need is an interesting thing. Like, you know, we can have needs that make the relationship codependent. But I think that there's other needs, like you're saying, that help us fill out a life. You know, it kind of like completes the circle a bit. And I think it's just being smart about how are you trying to complete your circle? Not complete yourself, but complete the circle of your life. You know, yeah, that's why I would love like a certain leader that can help me lead my life. I don't want to follow someone's life. I don't want to need them because they're dragging me along. And so I feel like I'm really not offering anything. But I want someone that helps me fill and round out the edges of my life. And I think it is a problem, and it's an illusion that I don't need anyone. I have my own thing. And I think, again, that's why people are so dissatisfied. They're trying to keep up with that appearance. And it's really rigid, and I think it's kind of threatening to men. I think I kind of feel for men, to be honest, because, you know, what, now they're not needed? They don't, I mean, it's sad to see what's being done because they're kind of being kicked out. And the reality is that men have liked how they've needed women, how women have needed them. I think men have felt really confident in that. And that's why they were able to go out and make a career for themselves because they needed that love. That wasn't taking advantage of a lesser position. That was taking advantage of a connection that fulfills you. And I think that we should credit people for that. We should say, you're important to me. I need you in my life. I want to see more of you. People want to act so careless now about it. Like as if that's cool. And I don't believe in that. I want people to know that they're important and I need them around. I want to be there for them. I want to show up because that's what makes my life more fulfilling. That's what makes me feel alive. So if we could be more honest about the life we want to have and who's going to help us get that, then I think that's good. That's where the needs make sense.
So okay, so here's another. When you deal with men and female in the relationship, which one, in your opinion, needs reconfirmation of the relationship more? Is it men or female? And I tell you why I'm saying it is because to me, if my wife says, Vahid, I love you. I married you, I love you. It's done. Unless she comes back and she says, I don't love you, that I love you is still there. Like, I don't need a reconfirmation every single hour or every single day or every time I wake up in the morning, I go to sleep, I come out of the bathroom, I go do lunch, and I got to text you, I love you. Like, I don't need that. You told me I love you, that's it, done. That means you love me. It's already ingrained in me. I believe it. I want to believe it. I know it. It's done. But that's not the same with female. They need reconfirmation of that constantly. Where does that come from?
I think that like they have this fear that men are going to change their mind because women change their mind about themselves more often than maybe men. I mean, a lot of men, a lot of my clients are doubting things, but usually after a relationship, like most people do. I do think that you're right. I think that men are a little bit more simplistic, maybe a little bit more spiritual. When they say something, they mean it. When they hear something, they believe it. A lot of women don't. I think that maybe men, I think that men, a lot of women feel like, men don't stop for every woman and just set up shop. They don't. Women will look at the potential and try to convince themselves that this person is right. A man, I think, only stops for certain people. So when he stops, he's more convinced by it. He's more certain of it. So he doesn't need the constant confirmation. He doesn't need to keep on telling or trying to convince himself of something, or he wouldn't have stopped. Whereas a woman will try to make someone right, and then they're insecure about that. So they're looking for confirmation that this relationship is right from the person they're with. I think that men don't do that as much, either because of pride or because they really believe in the decision that they're making, and that when someone says they love them, that they mean it. Of course, I think men begin doubting this when a woman is showing doubt. Like, did you really mean that? Did you change your mind? We're all looking for someone that is consistent in their character, that's consistent in their mood, that's consistent in their perspective and stuff. What?
I was going to disagree. No, I was going to disagree with the last statement. I think a lot of female love that insecurity, uncertainty. They go for the bad boys, the crazy guy. But when they want to get married, they're looking for that stable guy. More like 5 years ago, you were driving. You were dating that. Maybe you were driving
the guy.
Dirty thoughts. You were with that guy. And now you're looking for a stable guy. Now you want to settle. So you went from uncertain guy to a certain guy. So to me, it's like, maybe we do need all of those flavors. Tony Robbins talks about that. We need certainty and we need uncertainty. So to me, it's a little bit confusing.
Maybe you need someone that you can be uncertain with. I don't know. You have to be, life isn't certain, but you have to feel stable somewhere. And yeah, I guess you could say the same thing about men. Men are looking, they're just playing around in the beginning and then they get a wife. I think that we all stop fooling ourselves, hopefully, at a certain point. I just think that women maybe have a harder time believing what someone tells them because they've been geared to think that men are lying. And it's unfortunate. I think that we are set back because of that, because we don't believe what we see in someone. One of my favorite quotes is Maya Angelou. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. A lot of people don't want to do that in relationships.
I agree with that. No, my wife is amazing. She's an attorney. So this is my first and last marriage. I'm not getting out of this alive. So I'm going to keep it. So it's just going to be, this is it. I made the decision. It's done deal.
It's a choice,
that's how it's going to be. So I don't know about her. So we need to do an interview with her, see if she's got the same feeling. But to me, it's complex. It's not an easy equation. You can't say it's compromising, it's love, it's attention, it's certainty, it's uncertainty, is sometimes you got to do a little bit of a white lie. I don't tell my wife how much my fish tank cost me. I don't tell her how much those fishes cost each. I told her $20, but it cost 200. Sometimes it's kind of good to, I tell you this, and I know you're big. Somebody asked me, what's your biggest, worst fear? And I had to think about that for a moment. And I told him, my biggest fear is if I ever die, my wife is going to sell those fishes for what I told her I paid for. That is not somebody's going to get an
truth in the will. Put the truth in the will. Tell her, spell it out there.
And I know she's going to sell those fishes the minute I'm gone. Those are the first things that are going to be gone. It's just, that's it. They're just gone. There's too much maintenance.
She may just bury them in the backyard. I don't know why you think she's going to sell them.
That's even worse. Now we definitely throw away some good
she's... Oh my God.
What do you say to people that are shy or are a little bit, I will be uncomfortable having a breakup coach or having a relationship coach. I don't know. I don't know. I feel uncomfortable talking to somebody else about those things. I'm not that open like that. Yeah. I can't just share those feelings. What is your suggestions to those individuals and you and I know that they need the help?
I think that's why something like e-coaching is a great start, because it gives people more time to collect their thoughts. It doesn't feel as, like intrusive. And that's why, it's a letter. It's like an advice column. That's what I offer. Another thing though is that, you have to make sure like the energy is right, but I honestly feel like someone like me, when I work with someone, I bring something out of someone, and that's what they need. They need in that moment to realize that it's not as scary as they think. It's not as threatening as they think. All it takes is one person to kind of encourage something out of you. And so this might be the moment to find someone that is so skilled in that, about really making these things relatable, is kind of giving you that sense of ease. So you can start going out into the world and kind of believe in yourself just a little bit more, that you can express yourself, that you have clarity.
I love it. Why? My last question. I promise it's the last question.
Oh, it's fine.
Why do you think individuals need to do self-development?
Otherwise, you're just here. I mean, self-development it's like how you have a love affair with yourself. It's how you invest in yourself. It's how you can look back and see the growth. I mean, it would be the biggest heartbreak would be just to say that it's just going to stop here. Like that would be just the death of yourself. So self-development is how you also are looking back on your life and seeing where you might have gotten something wrong. And again, you're appreciating the things that went maybe not according to plan, and you're making sense of it. I think you pay yourself your life respect by constantly looking back and developing on it or processing it. And I think it's really what you can offer someone else, is when you develop yourself and you're committed to that, you're committing to someone that you're going to keep showing up and trying to understand yourself, and that you're going to want to understand them as well.
Last question. Sexual activity. At what point do you recommend that to people?
Sexual activity?
Right. Do they kiss on the first day? Do they have sex on the first week, first month? Is it after engagement? Is it after marriage? What is your suggestion? Or what is the trend that's going right now? Because I'm not in that circle.
The trend that's going? I think the trend is like, do you want to have a play partner tonight? But I've never believed in the rules. I mean, listen, I've slept with almost all my boyfriends, what became my boyfriends, the first time I was with them. I don't really believe, I think, again, that's so fear-based that after you have sex with someone, they're just going to be not interested. That's someone that's like not confident that they have anything to offer, or that they'd be able to show that. I think that if someone is ready for whatever you're offering, like it couldn't get in the way. I don't think that you should be kind of trying to position yourself or make these moves and be sneaky about with sex with rules. I think just don't try to force it, or try to use sex to make someone desire you, to make someone commit to you, or withhold it to make someone more interested. Don't be scared that someone's gonna leave you after because of it. I don't know. I mean, it's a great thing. I mean, it can be the best thing, but it's not everything.
Mental attachment, is it more for females after sex, or is it for men? Mental attachment. Because when you have sex, now you shared something very sacred, in my opinion. I shared my body with you. That's a big deal. Like, I had to like check you out. We went on date. I mean, that's just me, because I don't do that. It's personal opinion. Has nothing to do with culture, religion, all that stuff. It's just me sharing my body with you. Then you have gone. I have had a checklist for myself before I do that. So my question is this: which one gets more attachment after sex?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to choose, I would say that I see it more in women. I was just around 3 women yesterday, and it was all happening because of that. They didn't really care for the guy before they had sex with them. Now they want to build a relationship ever since they've been having sex with them. Sometimes you feel really connected sexually, so you think that there must be something there outside of the bedroom. And so you start trying to build out of the bedroom. I mean, it would be a generalization, but I do think that women, they feel something there, so they think it must suggest something about the dynamic outside of the bedroom.
So what do you recommend to that individual? Look up and outside the bedroom, build that relationship, or don't do it because the basis was in the bedroom?
I mean, I think it's about remembering what you felt about the person before you ever slept with them. be really honest with yourself. Were you thinking like you might just be attracted? Were you thinking like, what were you thinking about that person? Remember what you thought of them before you had sex with them. If things have changed so much since you had sex with them, maybe it's just like the romance that is making you hope that you could build this person into something more.
Got it. I think we should do a course. I think we should do a course of me asking a billion questions. You answer the questions, and then we just send them the videos. They watch it on their own. I don't even know what we call that. We don't even call it e-course anymore. We just call it video course. We just send it out because I ask all the questions they don't want to be asking. So
Let's do
I'm a
it.
married guy, so I can ask all the questions, and I don't have to worry about it. I
Yeah,
could just
ask all the questions. You can disagree with me. I think if you disagree with anything that's been said, what's speaking up is your truth about relationships. And that's what people have to discover. Everyone's always asking everyone else. The point is, you can ask me, you can disagree. If you felt like you disagreed with anything I said, that's your truth. That's your heart leading you. And that's what's going to make you like a different lover than me, a different relationship person than you. So again, like you can hear a question, you can hear an answer. And if it doesn't resonate, that means that like you should be leading yourself in another direction, and do that.
That is awesome. If I told you I was in a relationship for 7 years, I'm not married, what would you say to that?
Oh, I have a hard time. The 7-year itch, man. I mean, like, why
You don't
not?
like any rules. I'm having a problem with you that you don't like any of the rules,
I
or
don't
you
like
don't
the
like any of the guidelines.
What?
Culturally, if you're with somebody for 7 years, if I told you, Chelsea, I've been with my girlfriend for 7 years, what would be the first thing that will go through your thought? What would you think?
That I'm not very advanced in my thinking, and I think that people should commit. You know, a lot of people would say like, yeah, they're life partners. I'm like, I'm someone that likes the idea of marriage. I'm not like a cynic about it. So someone that's been with someone for 7 years, you know what I've seen? They don't end up together. Someone's waiting for something to happen. Someone's waiting for the man to be more. Someone's waiting for the woman to show this. You know, it's all these things, and they're not talking about what's the wait. What are we waiting until?
So if I come to you, I say, Chelsea, I met the love of my life, and it was 2 months ago, I'm about to propose. What would you say to that?
What was
So
the
we know you already established a time base. You're thinking 7 years is too long. What do you think is not too long? When is an optimal situation or time frame for someone to get their shit together where like, dude, I need to commit to this person and we need to be exclusive, not inclusive. So is it 6 months? Is it 1 year?
Okay, I
I
like
have
to
an
think
answer if you want to hear my answer.
I like to think that as we get older and wiser, we know quicker, okay? But if I had to put a time on it, I think 1.5 years, 2 years, you've probably been through some stuff to know by now. You know, like, dude, I'm not dating just to date anymore. Time goes like that. You know, you can just be hanging out, seeing what happens with 6 months. It turns into 3 years, no joke. So, I mean, check in with yourself. Check in about your relationship. Because, like, literally, time flies. Time flies.
Definitely, I agree with that 100%. But is your recommendation for individuals, specifically men, to be in a long term? I don't want to call it marriage because some men have issues with that. Is it your recommendation to strive, and the reason why you're putting yourself out there and going through all of these different things that you're doing and building these connections to be in a long term relationship? You recommend a healthy long term relationship?
I think so. I think so. I mean, I think that
That was
people
a
that are
lot of hesitation.
I think that people that are obsessed with dating is not good. But yeah, I think that if in the back of your mind that is a goal that you have, that you would love to meet and share your life with someone, I think that is, you know, probably what life is for. I think that there's no better way of understanding yourself than putting yourself in relation to another person over a long period of time. You know, a lot of people, like you said, like don't feel comfortable hiring a coach. Well, I hope people will feel comfortable finding one person that they could be honest and open with. Imagine if you were never like trying to get into a relationship. That means a lot of people would never be looking to open up to anyone. And that would be a loss of a life. So yeah, I mean, striving to find someone that you can explore, not only like the exterior life with, but the internal life with, is how you feel like you've had a complete life, I think.
I agree with that. I still got more questions, but I know you're a busy woman, so I
Let's do
totally
the
understand.
course.
Definitely. And let me tell you why the course is so important is because I'm seeing a trend where you are absolutely right. We're taking so much time being on the phone. There's so much pressure, so much this, so much that, because I think there's a phenomenon that's happening. The older generation expect you to get married or based on the culture, background, religion, all these different views. So between 25 to 35, everybody's under that pressure that I better get married. And let me tell you something. If you're Persian, female, 30, you're not married, oh my God. Everybody in the community is going to start talking shit behind your back. Like, it's a lot of peer pressure that's there. So but if you're not putting yourself out there and you don't have a mentor or coach, you also don't want to jump into a marriage where you get divorced 2-3 years where it's even worse situation than it was before. Now you ruin two people's life.
Or
now
kids'
you
lives. Or if you have kids, you know, like if you have kids quickly, I think that you want to be really wise about who you choose. It's important to be with someone, I think. It's so valuable, but you don't want to just be with anyone. You can't just be. You don't want to let time like clicking down force you into something that isn't meant for you long term. You know, so again, it's not tricking yourself into believing, and it's not about opening your eyes and figuring out who's in front of you and saying, okay, I'll commit to that. You know, it's not going to feel like you're being sincere with yourself. So you gotta wise up, man. You gotta be honest and real with yourself and be patient.
Best place to meet your future wife. What?
I have no idea.
Do you go to library? Do you go to coffee shop? Do you go to club?
I was just quoted about for pools that I said that at one point. I mean, I love like dinners, like anywhere that you're out. I don't know. Everything is out.
Hold on a second. I work in a lab. I work from 8 a.m. till like, let's say 6 p.m. 6 p.m. I get out of my office and I'm driving home. I pick up something quickly to have for food. I go to my apartment. Come on, give me some more solution than that. Dinner. Well, you got to know the person before you can go to dinner. Do you show up to a restaurant by yourself and hope that another single guy?
Sit at the bar. I mean, then it becomes okay. So you're right. I mean, these are really good points. This is why I'm a breakup coach. I'm not a dating coach. Okay, let's be real. I'm not a dating coach. I help people be solo. Okay, I make people feel comfortable when they're on their own and about going to a restaurant by themselves solo and initiating something. Okay, so if I was trying to think like a dating coach, I might say go out with a friend, but make sure you talk to other people. I might say join a membership club. I'm part of Soho House. I meet a lot of people there that make sense for me, right? But it's about like, if you go with someone else, it's about not like bonding like this the whole time, knowing that you're going together somewhere to make your circle bigger, you know? I mean, you bring up good points.
First time I met my wife was at Barnes & Noble.
I mean, I love books, as you can see, or you can't see, but I have a whole thing of books. So yeah, I mean, go where your interests are and use the interest as a reason to start talking to someone. Be playful, you know? Yeah, find someone amongst the stacks of books, you know? Ask if you can read a passage to them. I don't know. I mean, it's like, but use the play, like if you're going to go out into the world, use it as your opportunity, because you're right. People are working all day long. They don't feel like they have a lot of time and they don't maybe have as much money to invest or whatever. That means that you've got to be really present to whatever situation that you're in. And situations like if you're just doing drive-through, let's say, so it doesn't crush your spirit, you have to use those engagements to lift your energy up so you're not deflated the next day or later. You know, you have to use moments that aren't dating based to lift your energy up so you can give yourself a shot in the world.
I want to thank you so much for taking this time and being with us. I apologize for my questions in advance.
You shouldn't apologize. I love it all. You can.
Next time
I like the pushback, man.
Right now, I'm secretly praying that my wife doesn't see this interview. We're gonna bury it in our IGTV all the way deep, right? She's gonna
Don't do that to me. Put it on the top. She'll think that you're so invested in her. Wait, she'll be so happy. She'll want to, like, you know, renew the vows. Put this at the top of the page. She'll be so happy.
Let me tell you something. When we went into the hospital and my baby was 40 days premature earlier, And when I saw my wife 5 days, we were in the hospital. Total, she stayed in the hospital for 13 days. I was physically there in the hospital before she gave birth, 5 days total. And I was there. Just the amount of pure pain that she went through, I just had like so much respect and so much love for her. It just, me sitting there completely being useless. Like I couldn't do anything. Like I was just holding her hand, just being there, walking around, trying not to pass out with all these females screaming, giving birth. Just my level, just trying to stay, just not passing out. That was a big fight
I've
for
heard
me.
that, yeah.
So just, I was kind of fighting at every moment, but I was there for 5 days, right? Just my level of love just went like 10 degrees higher. I was like, damn, she went through all of that to give me a baby. I was like, I better shut up. I better be nicer. I better be doing more stuff. Now I'm on my path to do more and do all that stuff, but just seeing that, I was like, whoa.
But
This
you know
is
what's
a big
amazing
deal.
is that you haven't let time since that bury that revelation. You know, like you've used that reality and you've always held it in front of you why you still value her. We have moments like that and we forget them somehow. I mean, that's incredible that like you just became so aware of, like you said, what this person was giving your life, what they were bringing to life with you. And I'm like, how do people forget this? How do they end up cursing and talking bad about the person they had a child with? That's
I agree with that. I
so, I
agree.
mean, I think
But
it's
then
a
that's where they need
lesson.
you as a breakup coach so they don't talk shit behind their exes. I understand that. That's a total top. I could totally see that being a course. You go to court, file for divorce, you got to get this course standard. You got to get,
Let's do
you got to
that.
have that.
So you don't talk shit about your ex course.
That
Never
would be
need, no,
cool.
never need to talk shit about your ex course. That's great. Never
That's
need.
amazing. See, I'm giving you all these ideas now. We should do more live sessions. We'll come up with more stuff.
Can we do it?
Listen,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. I know that what I want to do is I want to bring more females and their perspective and their questions because this is a big important topic. And let me tell you why I'm interested in this topic. It's not because of the relationship aspect. It's because I've seen a lot of successful people not become successful if they didn't have their life partner. And I'm not talking about a man and a woman. It doesn't matter. I'm talking about a life partner, right?
Right.
It could be a guy, girl, it doesn't matter, right? We're way beyond that in our society, right? So we're totally cool with that. But the effect that your love and your relationship and your sex relationship has in your business, it's a big deal because I know a lot of men, because they want to impress the woman in their lives, they will go work much harder, they
Right.
will put more effort, they will focus a lot more because they have that in their lives. Like it's kind of one of those things that I'm going to be more driven in my job, my career, my business, my schooling, all that, because I want to bring the end result to the love of my life and get, not just necessarily get her approval, is because voluntarily I wanted to bring it. I wanted to provide more for her.
Yeah, you're
So
being a
this is like a
provider.
big topic.
Yeah, you're being a provider, and I love that perspective. And then for me, on the other hand, it's like looking at if you don't feel that strongly about yourself, you might not choose the right person. You might choose someone that is smaller because you feel small in yourself. I also, it's like, I think that I've looked at people that after heartbreak, they reinvented themselves professionally because they learned about success in a new way, or they used heartbreak, they leveraged it to give them success. So there's so many different ways of looking at this. But 100%, I mean, you're describing someone that's a provider, that they're proud of their life and they want to bring back more to it. So I think from any angle, this is relevant for people. I also think it'd be great for like the people that are listening just to know their questions and just to answer them.
Definitely. I love it. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Hopefully we can do more live sessions and I stop my stupid questions and we'll let other people ask some more questions or maybe actually have you give us some tips instead of me grilling you. But I love it. You're in LA. I'm in LA. You're in New York. I had to put it out there so you don't think people in LA can't ask questions. So I was just putting that out there.
Yeah, no, I take questions worldwide. I used to live in LA, so
Really? Which part?
I lived near, oh God, I'm totally blanking. Larchmont.
That's cool. That's cool. We're in LA area. We're in LA County, specifically in Woodland Hills. We're in San Fernando Valley, they call it. About 25 miles away from LAX, 15 miles from West Hollywood, Hollywood itself. About another 18, 20 miles from Beverly Hills. So we're pretty close, but I like the neighborhood that we're in.
It's exciting. I got to get back there. Exciting stuff.
Definitely. Listen, if you want to do a course, we got a full studio. Let us know. We'll collaborate. I'll send you a message, and then hopefully we'll do something, because I think it's a topic that it could change a lot of people's future. Financially, mentally, physically, it is very, very, very important who you give your heart to. It's very, very important.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on it. Bye.